In this lecture, we're going to cover data preprocessing, which is the third phase in CRISP-DM methodology. Okay, just to recap, the first phase was business understanding. The second one is data understanding. Okay, and the third one is data preparation. So during data preparation, you have already collected necessary data that you have identified useful to answer your analytical question. And then what you need to do there is that you need to pre-process it, or also known as clean it or wrangle it or scrubbing it, okay, so that it will be fit for analysis. Because the next phase of CRISP-DM, once this phase is over, would be to do the modeling, okay, which means that we will choose or evaluate, okay, we will choose and then evaluate several machine learning algorithms that can solve our problem, or to answer the analytical question that we have identified. Okay, data preparation is the longest phase in CRISP-DM. It has been stated that it takes up to in majority, it takes up to 80% of the entire CRISP-DM methodology. Okay, the CRISP-DM cycle. Why? Because basically data, when you get raw, okay, they are in a dirty form, okay, whereby you need to clean it in terms of its format, its structure, its typos. Yeah. So let's get on with this lecture of data preprocessing. Okay, data preprocessing is an important step. Okay, an important step whereby if you do not do this, or you do it not diligently, what happens is that your model is going to get fed with incorrect data, and therefore it will generate incorrect results. If you're doing prediction, then the prediction is incorrect, is skewed, and therefore the result is unreliable. Okay, so these are some of the basic pre-processing activities that one can do. Most of the time, data scientists, as they face the problem, they will handle it, they will clean the data. So there could be more. This is not an exhaustive list. So let's take a look at each one of these. The first one is when you see, for example, a feature or an attribute that has a constant value. It means that, for example, if the gender is all female, therefore this is an indication that you should remove this attribute, because it is not discriminative, it is not significant, it is not informative. Okay, a feature associated with one unique value does not help the model to generalize well, since its variance is 0. Right? A tree-based model cannot take advantage of these type of features, since the model cannot split these features. The next one is when you see duplicates, you need to remove them. Duplicates frequently occur when you are combining your data set is the result of combining, okay, several different or more than one, a minimum of 2, okay, a minimum of 2 data sources. So you need to remove it because duplicate features is giving the wrong idea that the total number of records is more than what it actually is. Next is handling bad data. Okay, data that do not fit in a specific problem being solved is considered as bad data. Okay, so when you explore data, you look at the distribution charts. Okay, any categorical features, what you want to find out is you want to see if there are any data that shouldn't be there or just markedly wrong. Yeah, for example, you have a feature called gender, okay, where most of the values are either male or female. But then you notice that there are a couple of data points that have the value 67.3 for gender. So this is obviously is a bad data if you know within the so-called context. Okay, this is an example. Yeah, this is account holder age distribution. So this is age. Yeah, and this is number the years. Sorry, this is yeah, the frequency, the total, right? The total number of people, for example, having a loan. Okay, so if you take a look at this, the age is 0. There's so many that is having a loan. That's not logical, isn't it? Because nobody's age 0 unless it is he or she is a baby. So babies are not eligible to have loans. Okay, next is removing irrelevant features. So different features have differing degrees of relevance to a data science task. Right, some features are just plain not needed. It's just not going to help you with your prediction, for example. Okay, so if you remove them, it relieves the machine learning algorithm, the computation, okay, from having a longer time to complete. So let's take a look at an example. If you are trying to predict the sales of a book, a feature called font type in a dataset of books purchased from Amazon over the past year is not relevant. Okay, it's not. People don't buy a book just because of font type. People still buy a book for its contents. Okay, you should also remove highly correlated features. Okay, features with high correlation are more linearly dependent and hence have almost the same effect on the dependent variable. So when two features have high correlation, we can drop one of the two features. So what this dependent variable means is also known as the target or the target class or the target attribute. Okay, this is the very attribute that we want to predict. It usually has a label, a class label. Okay. Okay, so this is a correlation table, correlation matrix. Yeah. So if you take a look at here, there is a high correlation between PS_reg03, okay, and PS_reg02. Okay, 0.7. And there's also a high correlation between PS_car12, this one, okay, and PSCAR 13. So let's traverse down here, PSCAR 13. Here it is, 0.67. Okay, so 1 indicates exactly, okay, it's the exact same one. Okay, minus 0.7 is a strong downhill linear relationship. Okay, if you ever come across this. 0.5 is a moderate downhill relationship. Okay, so we can see here that 0.7 is a strong uphill linear relationship. Okay, so the stronger the correlation, it means that you can remove one of it, one of the attributes. Okay, next is correct structural errors. So what it means that you have to do to identify any structural errors. Okay, what is structural error? It is all of the errors that actually arise during measurement, data transfer, or other types of poor housekeeping. Okay, so they include typos, inconsistent capitalization, and so on and so forth. Okay. Outliers is the next thing that you would need to filter out. Okay, outliers basically can cause problems with certain types of models. For example, linear regression models are less robust to outliers if you compare it with a decision tree. Okay, in general, if you have a legitimate reason to have an outlier, it will help your model's performance because you have that corner case, one of the unique corner cases. However, outliers are innocent until proven guilty. You should never remove an outlier just because it's a big number. Okay. So the big number could be very informative to your model. Okay, next is handling missing data. So if it's categorical data, right? So you have an option of either just removing that feature. Okay, remove the record if and only if okay, if you delete it, it will be less than 10% of your data set. Okay, therefore replace with the majority label or categories as missing. Right, replacing with majority label could unfortunately oversimplify your data because there's too many of it. For example, if majority is yes, or majority is female, therefore if there's missing value and you replace it with the majority of all females, then you are training your algorithm to identify a lot of cases related to the gender women. Okay, and the learning algorithm will not have enough information to identify the minority of the labels. Okay, so if let's say the data is numeric, you can choose to replace it with the median or the mean or the average. Okay, or just put that as missing.